The daughter I raised for 20 years orchestrated a car accident for me for a fraudster in northern Maine. I was admitted to the hospital for resuscitation. She pulled out my oxygen tube, told me I didn't deserve to be her mother. When I opened my eyes again, my daughter was still accusing me of being a control freak. This time, I sent her to the North Main campus myself, and she's crying on the phone, begging for help. Mommy, help me. If you like listening to novels, give me a like. Wish you the best of luck and good things will happen. Beginning of the text. My daughter recently fell in love with someone she found on the internet. They met soon after. She told me she wants to quit her job and go abroad with her boyfriend. She wants to start a new journey in her life. In a previous life, I panicked when I heard the news. My daughter had just graduated from the university. I worked hard to find her a good job. It's a great career that many people don't have. But she says I'm controlling her life. Ever since I wouldn't let her go abroad, all she's done is hate me. She tries to hurt me in every way she can. She sent me videos accusing me of being a psychopathic control freak and restricting her freedom. She even started a cyber smut against me. I was in a car accident. I was in a hospital bed. She laughed and told me, "You know why the brakes don't work. I wish you were dead." And then she pulled out my oxygen tube. In this life, I decided to do everything she wanted. I wanted to see her rot and stink in my own life. But I underestimated my own emotions. After all, she was my daughter for 20 years. I couldn't bear to watch her fall into the mire. That online boyfriend she's been seeing, I've had him investigated. He's a swindler from the north of Myanmar. He always pretends to be a rich kid and lures ignorant girls into the park. "Hey mom, I want to go overseas with Landon." My daughter brought it up at dinner. My heart sank. Maybe I've pampered her too much over the years. She doesn't know what's going on in society. It's not as complicated abroad as it is at home. Your language is also a problem. I couldn't help but remind her. Landon's been to school before. He'll be fine. He said he'd teach me. Don't worry. Mom, looks like she's already convinced herself of the con man's rich kid status. You just met him. Why don't you think about it? I advised her in a calm tone. But she wasn't happy about it. She slammed the chopsticks in her hand on the table and angrily went back to her room. I sat down at the table and sighed, thinking about what she had said to me in my past life. Was I really controlling her unconsciously? The next day, I received a phone call. It was from my daughter's superior, Manager Lee. "Mr. Len, Luna wants to resign." Manager Lee asked for my advice on the phone. "Follow the normal procedure." I replied calmly, "Mr. Len, don't blame me for talking too much." At first, I interrupted him. "It's okay. As long as the company policy allows, I respect her decision." "Okay, Mr. Len." Manager Lee probably doesn't understand. How could I agree to Luna's resignation so easily? When Luna Ing first joined the company, she thought she was very capable, and because of me, she had to replace a senior employee to negotiate with a client. She ended up screwing up a big deal. Normally, such an employee would have been fired, but I'd rather pay for her mistakes than let her suffer in another company. I've struggled a little bit too. I know what it's like to be an intern. In the end, I had to pay for the loss myself. It was only then that the matter was resolved. There was another time. She bullied a new intern in the workplace. She insulted the intern and slapped her in front of everyone. It almost made the news. I'm the boss of a listed company. I had to come out and apologize. I had to deal with the media. I even gave the employee a promotion and a raise. She's been in the company for 2 years and has caused a lot of trouble. Every time, I'm the one who wipes her arse behind. But I've learned a lesson from my last wife. I won't force her anymore. Thank you very much. Manager Lee. I hung up the phone. Luna pushed open the door and shouted hysterically at me. I've had enough. Are you setting me up again? I just want to live a free life. What's wrong with that? I'm a person, not a puppet in your hands. I have a mind of my own. I put down my mobile phone and looked at her inferently. Who says I have to arrange you? Mom respects your decision. She froze, then ran towards me and hugged me excitedly. Mom, you're the best mom in the world. I got up from her arms. But you'll have to save your money from now on. Luna's face changed. What do you mean? I took an apple from the fridge and bit into it. You've grown up. You're independent. Mom can't help you much anymore. Of course, Luna knew what I meant. The only reason she can talk to me calmly now is because she needs my money. I've worked my way up from the bottom to where I am today. I know money is hard to come by. That's why I'm so frugal with my money. And Luna is not my biological child, but I love her very much. I'm even more indulgent when it comes to spending money. I've taught her about it, but she always blamed me for restricting her. So I stopped talking. Are you threatening me with money again? You've been controlling me because you have a few bucks, haven't you? Let me tell you something. I can still live without your money. Then she slammed the door and left. It seems she completely believed that liar. I shook my head. I wish she had as much backbone as she said she did. Since the day I brought Luna home from the orphanage, I haven't treated her badly. I went from being a young girl in the prime of her life. I become a single mother with a baby. For fear of her suffering, I didn't even look for a boyfriend. Perhaps my overprotection made her find life too easy and boring. Ever since she was a child, she's never been a good girl. In secondary school, she bullied her female classmates. I chased after other people's parents to apologize and even knelt down for them. In college, she almost got expelled for skipping classes and missing exams. I lost all my self-respect to get her a diploma. When she graduated, she couldn't find a job. Under pressure from the shareholders, I placed her in a group company. I didn't realize that 20 years of nurturing and love had resulted in her wanting me dead. Until this moment, I really realized Luna doesn't deserve my soft heart, and even less worthy of the feelings I gave for her. A few days later, late at night, I was enjoying my time alone. There was the sound of a door opening. I knew it was Luna. I stopped her credit card the day she left. She'd quit her job again and probably ran out of money. It didn't take long. There were some noises coming from the kitchen, and I heard some male voices. Boys, she's bringing a scammer into the house. I got up and opened the door. The two of them ate my leftovers in the dimly lit living room. Since she left, I no longer have to cater for her tastes. I've made a lot of my favorite dishes. The two of them gobbled up each other's leftovers. This scene makes me laugh. What a pair of bitter lovebirds. I turned on the light. Under the light, the two of them were glowing with oil and looked at me. Luna wiped her mouth and smiled in embarrassment. Mom, I looked at Luna with a smile. She was disheveled, her mouth full of rice, her hair slightly tangled. She was dirty, the backs of her hands covered in oil from her mouth. The table was littered with crumbs and scraps of paper that the two of them had spat on. In the panic, their chopsticks and spoons were thrown everywhere. They were living like beggars. Maybe this is the kind of freedom and love that she seeks. Auntie, my name is Landon. I'm Luna's boyfriend. I took a look at him. He's got some good looks. No wonder he's a liar. I didn't wait to say anything. Landon stood up excitedly and swallowed his food. He looked like he hadn't eaten in days. Auntie, I'm true to Luna. Please believe us. This liar is quite dedicated. The first step in meeting parents is to vote. I walked up to them with my arms folded across my chest. Landon, right? I didn't say I didn't believe you. I didn't give them a hard time. They smiled at each other. I looked him up and down and asked disapprovingly, I thought Luna said your family was rich. How did you end up like this? Landon wiped the residue on his mouth and smiled at me in embarrassment. Auntie, my dad found me a stepmother. My stepmother keeps all the money, but I don't want it to depend on them. He straightened up when he said that. He acted like a rich man in distress. Seeing that I didn't say anything, he went on with great vigor. I've made an appointment with Luna. We're going abroad to fight. We'll come back and impress them. I'll prove to them we can make it on our own. Wow, they're really professional liars. It's a direct hit to Luna's heart and it resonates with her. To be free from her parents. On their own. A young couple building a bright future together. Who wouldn't be tempted? I waved my hand and said, if that's the way it's gonna be, then you guys go ahead. I won't stop you. I wish you success. Luna's smile froze and then darkened. What's that supposed to mean? Are you kicking me out? Just because I don't listen to you, you're kicking me out of the house. Do you love to control me so much? You don't deserve to be my mom. Landon came out awkwardly to ease the situation. Luna, calm down. Auntie means she's okay with us being together. She's not kicking us out, is she? The con man is calmer than Luna. He knows I have all the money. If Luna and I fall out, he won't get anything out of it. I yawned. It's all right. Tomorrow you'll get your passport. Then I turned around and went back to bed. I could hear Luna cursing outside. When she gets old, I'm going to get her. I switched off the light. I sighed. I'm afraid she won't be able to wait until I'm old. One morning, I smelled food while I was still in bed. Luna had prepared breakfast for me. She greeted me with a warm welcome. Mom, I made you breakfast. Eat it while it's hot. Where's your boyfriend? He had to leave. It's deja vu all over again. In my last life, she and Landon slipped me a sleeping pill in my milk. They stole one of my credit cards. I loved her too much. Even when I found out, I didn't blame her. Then she made one mistake after another, and I started to think about myself. Did I overindulge her? That's why she went astray. But it turns out, a wolf is a wolf. I went to the table, sat down, picked up the bread and took a bite. I bought it at a convenience store. I don't know what part of Luna's story I hit. My daughter, who had been smiling at me just a moment ago, suddenly lost her temper. What do you want me to do to make you happy? I've already prepared your breakfast myself. What more do you want? What's wrong with me buying it? Oh, I see. She wanted to say she made it herself, but I said something that ruined it. The bread in her hand suddenly didn't smell as good, even though I was busy. I always took care of Luna's food and lifestyle. Before I went to university, I woke up at 5 every day just to prepare breakfast for her. Luna was abandoned as a child and starved for days. She had problems with her stomach and intestines. Once she ate a snack from a classmate and had diarrhea for a day and a night. I put aside my tens of millions of dollars in contracts to stay with her at the hospital. I felt sorry for her and gave her a few words of advice. I told her to be more careful with her food, but she said I wouldn't even let her have a snack. When Luna saw that I didn't touch the milk, she took the initiative and handed it to me. Mommy, you know I can't do anything, but it's a token of my appreciation. I apologize. I've never seen anyone take sleeping pills as a token of appreciation. It seems her hatred for me had already begun. I put the milk down and wiped my hands on a piece of paper. I'm allergic to dairy. I'm not lying. In my last life, I drank the milk with tears in my eyes. Just because it was the first time my daughter had prepared breakfast for me in years. I was so touched. I didn't care about my allergy. I got up, and Luna's furious voice came from behind me. I want 300 grand. I turned to look at her. I don't know when the clarity in her eyes disappeared, but there was more violence in them. I lifted the corner of my mouth slightly. Luna, you can't take everything for granted. Do you take everything for granted? For the old Luna, because she wasn't my child. I loved her even more. If she asked me, I could catch her any star in the sky. She shook her head and looked at me with a cold face, as if she had made up her mind. Mom, you've changed. What's $300 though to you? If that's the case, don't blame me. After she said that, a strange smile appeared on her face. Luna picked up the soya milk on the table and threw it on herself. She poured it on herself and shouted at the top of her lungs, "Mommy, why are you doing this to me?" Because I don't know how to make breakfast. I can learn. I watched her go crazy, confused. I caught a glimpse of Landon, who was hiding in his room, pointing his phone at me. Suddenly, I understood why Luna was mad. In her last life, she complained about me on a video platform. She said I was a sick control freak and that I beat her up from time to time. Gained a lot of sympathy from people. That's how she started her cyber violence against me. And I was devastated and depressed by it. That's enough. Don't be crazy. I told her off. I'll give you the money. I walked back to my room and took out the agreement I had prepared and threw it on the table. I'll give you 300 grand. But from now on, we're not adopted anymore. You've always said I control you, but you'll be free. Luna, or up the agreement. What do you think you've done with 20 years of love? I want $300, zero from you. And you're going to break off your relationship with me? You're so cruel. You're treating me like your dog, aren't you? Luna's words froze me in my tracks. I didn't expect a person who gave our mother sleeping pills. A person who threatened me for money just now would still care about her family. Of course, I'm her ATM. Of course, she won't want to break off the adoption. In her last life, she planned a car accident and inherited my entire fortune. If she signs the papers now, she'll be cut off from the money. When push came to shove, the liar was smart. Landon tried to calm Luna down. Luna, calm down. He turned to me and said, Auntie, you only have one daughter, Luna. Do you want to give up? Who's going to take care of you when you're old? I laughed.